Hi, and welcome to another edition of Danny Brown Talks Phoenix. I am your host, Danny Brown, and today I'm joined by Shawn Partridge. He is the head of digital at Puppies Make Me Happy. He's also a freelancer in digital and kind of an expert in the startup scene here in Phoenix. So I thought it'd be fun to talk to Shawn about kind of all things digital, talk about puppies and the startup scene here in Phoenix.
Perfect.
So thanks for joining us, Shawn.
Thank you. Congratulations on your PR this morning. You want to share with everyone what you've done? How many squats did you lift?
Well, I did 5 sets of 2 and was able to PR the last set of squats today.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah,
I'm glad you're posting that. I would not have known otherwise.
Well, it's become kind of
people are interested.
I know.
People
I get texts.
Interested.
I get texts when I don't post the PR for a while, and I
like, what's the deal? Is Danny slacking at the gym?
Yeah. I've been told that it shows that like I have consistency, and that consistency in my personal life and working out also shows that I might be consistent in my business life. So,
Who told you that?
People. Is that not true?
I just think that it's funny.
We had a business PR. We were 5th in our company.
Oh,
for
congrats.
Yeah. So
that's
out
nice.
of over 3,000 agents, we were ranked number 5.
Number 5 out of 3,000 agents, all within
the brokerage.
Yeah, within the brokerage. Cool.
So that was a big PR for me and the team.
So how do you get to 4?
How do I get to number 4? Got to help more people buy and sell homes.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So that's kind of the point of the podcast is to introduce people to my sphere. Growing up in Phoenix, I have a lot of cool contacts. You being one, we've been friends for a really long time. So I don't know. Just trying to grow the network and expose people to my network of friends.
Cool.
So
you're doing good at it.
Yeah. So the goal is to continue to grow. We don't keep track of rankings very much. We just want to help as many people as we can.
So do you just get the yearly national numbers, or is it like a quarterly thing?
That's monthly. So that was just the month of October. We're consistently kind of ranked on that page, but 5th was the highest we've ever been.
Cool. Congrats.
So yeah, big deal for us.
Yeah. You've been grinding at this for a long time.
Long time. Yep. Yeah. Well, you've been grinding, let's get into it, but you've been grinding for a long time in the startup scene. And I know a lot of our audience probably is very familiar with the Puppies brand that you guys have kind of taken from a small t-shirt business into kind of a really well-known brand in the fitness world, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of stumbled into the fitness thing.
Yeah.
So I'll just give a little background. One of the guys I went to college with, Nels Sco, he wanted to just start putting t-shirts, put puppies on t-shirts and trying to get them into the right people's hands, and thought that dogs on shirts made people happy, and he was right.
He was right.
And also figured out that there could be a rescue component or giving back to rescues and doing shirts that support certain rescues. And then one day about 3 years ago, we got asked to do a shirt with a dog on a spin bike. Actually, I'm wearing this shirt, like something like this. This one's really old. For a spin class in San Diego to benefit a rescue, and the spin class went nuts. They loved the shirt. They posted on Instagram, and then we just figured out, yoga, bar, Pilates. You can put a dog doing all of those exercises on shirts, and people will buy them and post it on Instagram. And we turned into kind of a fitness company.
So it kind of happened by accident.
Yeah, it's for sure happened. It was a pivot about 3 years ago from just what would be known as contemporary tee apparel, just with dogs on them, to really athleisure brand. Started showing up at trade shows. Started doing some collabs with some of the big national retailers like SoulCycle. We've done 2 collaborations with SoulCycle. We've done we're consistently in Core Power Yoga, and then we are sold in lots of different fitness boutiques, a lot around town and on the West Coast, but then we've got some sporadic studios that carry us all across the nation. So yeah, kind of just
super awesome.
Yeah, it kind of just grew out of just wanted to put, wanted to kind of put fun dogs on shirts and make people happy, and then kind of stumbled into the fitness thing. And
I think that's important to kind of focus on, is that when you're doing a startup, what you set out to do may not be
what you
end up doing. That you can't be married to what your initial plan is, because that may not be what the public wants.
Right, and absolutely willing to, yeah, that's totally right. And when you stumble into something that is the kind of something that's worth exploring, doing it right, and then also cutting your losses when you're doing stuff that doesn't work. Although fitness worked out really well, we've had some things that didn't work out really well. And like there's a running joke that we made a shirt with a pager on it, like a pager puppy shirt. We think it's hilarious, but like not a big seller. So like when you have successes, pivot in that direction. And when you have things that don't work out, just quickly, get out and, go back to what makes you money. Because ultimately that's what's going to keep you alive, is what makes you money.
Yeah, you got to have the cash flow.
Yeah, and showing up. I mean, you've known Nels as long as I have, and he's just always been a megaphone for anything that he's around, and that's really been what's between him being a megaphone and then the designer being an incredible designer, and just the product actually being a good product. It's really turned into kind of a successful little formula 5 years later. So yeah, it's fun. The reason I got involved was one, to just help Nels out. I like startups. I like helping entrepreneurs out and having lunches and happy hours and all that stuff. But the dog space is really cool. Everyone is into dogs. We definitely live to serve the crazy dog people. So the people that have several dogs, or the people that have Instagram accounts for their dogs, the people that don't have kids, people that want to put their dog on clothing, people that are just absolutely obsessed with their dog. And we definitely kind of live for those people. I
mean, that's a good niche to focus on, because people will spend all kinds of money on their pets.
They do. They absolutely do. And they come back for more. And the more that we do in the apparel space, the more and the bigger the brand gets, the more opportunities we have to do things like collars and leashes, and kind of just build a more of a traditional dog business that can fit into retailers out of the apparel brand. So yeah, it's been interesting. It's been really cool. From my perspective, from a digital perspective, it's really fun. The toolbox for dogs is really big when it comes to what you can do. Our social following's been great. We kind of that's really been the legs of the company, is just the social media, the Instagram account, the Facebook account, and making sure that we do well on there, so that when people engage with the brand and post, that we can repost, and that they want to be a part of it, and kind of building kind of a following that way.
It seems like the perfect brand or type of brand to be able to grow organically, because people love cute dogs doing things, and then also word of mouth. I mean, somebody's wearing your shirt to a yoga class, and majority of the girls, the people that are working out there are probably female at Spin, Bar, those types of studios. They see that and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I want this shirt."
Yeah. There are some shirts that we've made that really have become, I would say, girls and guys, like their anthem. Like we have like the yoga shirt for sure. People will wear it, once a week, and they'll get compliments all day long, makes them happy, and that's really what is intended with the design of these of the shirts is. Let's get a reaction. Let's make someone's day a little bit more positive, and uplift the people around them, and that's just general word of mouth that serves the brand well for reorders and stuff like that. Like we made this shirt. It says "Puppies, Wine, and I'm Fine," and like
that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, literally, like that. Like is like there's some girls that live in the shirt. Like it's like they sleep in it, they wake up in it, they spill red wine on it. It's red, so it's fine. And that's really kind of where it's a really fun brand to be a part of, is just because of the reaction and kind of just the lifestyle that people choose to have in the brand.
Sure.
And also just the influence that we're making on their dog as pet owners and whatnot. Like, I know, like, I was working a pop-up this weekend, and this girl came in with her Pomeranian, and she bought the shirt with a Pomeranian on it, and I was like, all right, I know what's going to happen. You're going to go home, you're going to put on the shirt, you're going to go on Instagram, you're going to post a picture of you with your Pomeranian, wearing a Pomeranian shirt. Go ahead and tag us, send us the originals, we'll repost you. So it's like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, you kind of know where everything's going. Like, it's just really like, we're just kind of helping them be crazier dog people than they already are.
And in that, you guys have pivoted again to where now you're allowing people to put the photo of their own animal or dog on clothes, right?
Yeah, so that's definitely something that we've grown in the last year, and was the #1 request since day one, has always been, can I get my dog on this shirt? It's like, they love the shirt, but they're like, it would be great if it was my dog. And so over the last 2 years in particular, we've really grown that side of the business, and now we're at the point where we can offer, your dog on leggings, your dog on T-shirts, on tanks. We've got some crazy cool designs where my favorite design right now is the phone home, where it's kind of like an ET scene where he's riding the bike and ET's in the basket, and your face is on the human, and then the dog is ET's face. Yeah,
that's funny.
Great. It's hilarious.
I love that.
And we've got some really cool designs in the pipeline for next year. So yeah, that side of the business is really really different and operationally, but something that we think that because of the investments we've already made in the brand and the overall apparel space, we can do that side of the business very well.
Have you guys thought of creating a relationship with something like BarkBox or your own membership service? You had mentioned like leashes
so
and
we're
stuff.
One of the nice things is because of the following and really because Nels has so many good connections.
Sure.
We've had lots of collab opportunities, and we've talked to some people, even Gainsbox. I don't know if you know what Gainsbox is. It's a CrossFit box.
Okay. I like Gains.
Yeah. I know you do. We've had different people reach out for different things, including like the Bark Boxes of the world. Those ones are a little, their model is a little different. They're looking to buy stuff at really low margin.
They have to.
Yeah. So, and they're also sometimes looking to be their own brand, which kind of sometimes can be a little different.
Sure.
But yeah, we have an open door policy for collabs. And also we've become a really good partner to collab with. I mentioned that we did stuff with SoulCycle earlier this year. We do stuff with Core Power Yoga. We did something with Microsoft. We did something with Halo Top Ice Cream.
Wow.
Let's see. So there's really a lot more opportunity in the collab space than, especially because we are this fun kind of brand that we can.
You probably attract other fun brands.
Yep, we do. We get hit up a lot to do some fun things, and usually, especially now that we can do all this custom stuff, we can figure out a way to make something work. Like for Halo Top Ice Cream, we did this it was National Dog Day, and everyone posted on social media to enter the contest, but then the winners got a special shirt that was like Halo Pup, and it was like their dog coming out of an ice cream carton, but there was like their favorite ice cream, and so it was like this, it was a really cool, interesting collab with cool giveaways.
Yeah. It sounds like the stuff you're doing is very personal.
It is very personal. Yeah. It's fun. Yeah. It's it's definitely a labor of love. There's been about 5 years going into it, and real small teams, only 4 of us that do everything.
Every overnight success, you don't hear about the 5 to 10 years that it took
it's like,
to get there.
Yeah, it's like everything's like a 10-year overnight success.
Yep.
Yeah, we couldn't be more excited about just the last year, and we got into Petco. So anyone watching this, please go to Petco and buy some dog hoodies or shirts from Petco.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we got into 24-hour fitness this year, or I think it was this year. So yeah, we've got some opportunities.
Yeah, sounds like you guys are growing.
There's always cats.
Yeah,
always cats. We get asked every single day about cat stuff.
I mean, there's the fairly obvious, would you kind of go that route with, using cats in the slang?
So
vernacular?
yeah, here's we've had like lots of discussions on it, and it's not like we know how to make the apparel, we know how to design things, but like it's really the spirit that's the problem. Like we aren't I'm not a cat person, and marketing like cat online is different than dog online.
Absolutely.
It is like digitally they are very different. They live in different places on the internet, and there's different like memes and
the owners are different.
Owners are very
way different personalities.
Yeah, so we just really right now the only thing holding us back is we just don't have we aren't crazy cat people, and so we don't know enough to
introduce you to my wife.
Yeah, I know your wife. Yeah, I know. But that's the thing,
she could spearhead your cat
there's
division.
the people like your wife that she would absolutely like put a cat on leggings or something like that.
Yes, she would.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we're not serving her right now. So yeah, that's an obvious place to go.
Yeah.
If we ever kind of get there.
So let's shift gears a little bit and kind of talk about the startup scene in Phoenix and kind of what you've seen. So you've been doing the Puppies thing for about 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years mostly. It started mostly as a side project. Now it's, I would say, close to full time. I still do some freelance work. But I've been spent, much like you, we spent a good part of our adolescence in banking world.
Yeah.
And made the shift. Spent 10 years in banking, and then made the shift to startups about 7 years ago. And I've worked at or been a part of somewhere between 5 to 7 startups around town in miscellaneous roles.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was quite involved with the startup scene a number of years ago, and I stay kind of peripherally involved and go to some meetups and some of the events here around town.
How have you seen it change in Phoenix over the last 5? I mean, we both grew up here.
Yeah.
And so how have you seen it kind of change over the last 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years. I'd say the major thing that's changed in the scene here in 5 to 10 years is there's at least now a collective Facebook group, this Yes Phoenix group.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a welcome addition, that there was actually at least one coalescing space. Some of the other big things that have changed is there's a lot more co-working and incubator spaces around town.
Yeah, there are.
And those,
they're like popping up everywhere.
They are popping up everywhere, and that's both good and bad, because one of the problems of the Phoenix startup scene is that everything's dispersed. You've got some people that do things in Chandler, some people that do things in downtown Phoenix, some people in North Scottsdale, and so that's still very true. And there is no I mean,
that's just Phoenix.
That's just Phoenix in general.
Yeah,
yeah,
we have the same problem LA does.
Everything's
just so spread out.
But the good thing is with all these co-working spaces is they are all, for the most part, trying to host events. They're trying to get people in the door. They're trying to get startups to have office space there. So there's a lot more places to kind of coalesce in than there were a while
really
ago.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, they're super nice. Yeah.
We just did a strategic planning session for our team at the Lawrence at a place in there called Galvanized.
Yeah. So Galvanized is totally probably the best space that we have right now. Galvanize is gorgeous.
Yeah, it was beautiful. They had some. It looked like they had some major players in there that were renting space.
Yeah,
as well.
Galvanize, I think, has been the in the last like 2 to 3 years the single biggest impact. Just them coming here, kind of revitalizing the warehouse district a little bit, and drawing some startups around that area, and then just what they're trying to office in-house there is really cool. They've been a good addition. You've got Cahoots, which is the longtime co-working staple here. They're just down the road. They're still doing good stuff.
There's Mod, that's right.
Mod, yeah. So you've got a lot more of those, and a lot of those, like at Galvanize, there's an incubator inside there. And
I've also heard that WeWork has plans to enter this market.
Yeah, there's a new. Have you been to the Quad?
No.
The office complex off of Thomas and 64th Street.
Yes.
It's really cool. With pitches right there.
Yeah, Open Door has a huge facility there, and I toured that recently.
Yeah, there's a new co-working space in there called, what is it called? I just met the lady, the Emerald, and it is a female-only co-working space, kind of meant for female entrepreneurship. Sure. So you're starting to see some of these like niche ones pop up, which I think is actually pretty cool.
Absolutely. It shows that it's gaining traction. If you you have even a smaller niche, I think that means that it's popular.
Yeah. Even like on Mill, there's a fashion incubator. Like if you want, like if I wanted to go down there and invent the Puppies belt, I could go use their. They've got a co-working space with a bunch of machines that I could use to do that type of stuff. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot more niches now. That's the big difference.
Where do you kind of see the startup scene going in Phoenix? Do you think it'll ever kind of rival what's happening in some other parts of the country?
No, it's different. So the other big thing that's changed in the last 5 years is we've become a satellite office, a good location for satellite offices for Silicon Valley companies, companies like Zenefits or Weebly before they got bought out. Open Door, OfferPad, all of them are opening satellites here. And a lot of times that's bringing call center jobs, operational jobs, not really too much. Some of them are doing engineering, but there's not a lot of engineering getting brought down here. I think that trend is going to continue over the next 5 to 10 years as San Francisco continues, and California in general continues to balloon real estate wise.
Oh yeah,
they're going to look to Phoenix, which has an abundance of office space.
Well, I mean, just from a housing perspective, we're helping more and more people from the Bay Area, from LA, from San Diego, all just tired of the cost of living in California, the traffic and the people. So we're seeing that. I know that Denver's seeing that. Reno, of all places, which I think is weird, is seeing a population increase. Tahoe, all this kind of exodus from California just due to the cost.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the biggest continuing factor is migration from California companies here. Unfortunately, what Phoenix has always wanted is this homegrown startup scene that for lots of reasons just doesn't exist.
Well, Phoenix needs to pivot. I mean,
yeah,
it's not going to happen.
We don't have any major headquarters anymore.
State Farm.
Oh, State Farm. Yeah. State Farm's here now. But there hasn't been really that. There hasn't been any significant sources of capital. People trying to do startups here are not going to find seed capital here.
Right.
They're not going to find their co-founder here for the most part. I mean, maybe they will, but it's really hard to, in San Francisco and, New York and whatnot, you've got these common, areas with all these people that are all interested in startups, and so they meet at coffee or they meet out and whatnot. And here everyone's so dispersed that the only time they meet up is for this one event that happens once every month or two, and so there's just not as much of that kind of organic intermingling that happens. So Yes, Phoenix has got some challenges from a startup perspective, but there is definitely some advantages. You got real estate, you got, we've got good data connections here. It's one thing Phoenix doesn't get enough credit for is we've got good
low business taxes too.
Yeah, we've got good data centers and whatnot that make a lot of tech companies possible.
Mm-hmm.
And SkySong's actually been a good addition too. Not enough credit goes to what they're doing at SkySong. That's a massive real estate.
Now SkySong's more of an incubator than a co-working space, right?
SkySong is just an office complex at this point. SkySong is just a massive office complex that they are renting out to anybody, but they're trying to get tech companies and people in that space, and ASU rents part of it. So ASU is definitely one of the tenants, but they have brought in companies like Oracle, I think, has got space there now. There's a cryptocurrency called Dash. That's their core dev team is out of there.
Yeah, we have a client that's heavily invested in Dash, and
I like
cashed
Dash.
cashed out to buy a house in
Did he?
cash.
Wow, good for him. It's been a rough it's been a rough month. There's some crypto. There's a couple different cryptocurrency plays at SkySong. MindBody, the company that you check into for fitness gyms. They've got an operations center there. There's a lot of jobs at SkySong now. Once again, not a lot of there's some engineering, but it's just a lot of more tech companies.
Sure. So if someone you said that you've worked for a handful of startups. I know that you've run some of your own startups. If someone is looking to kind of start their own business, because that's essentially what you're doing. That's what a startup is.
They're small
businesses.
Yeah, they're small
just
business.
A flashy vocabulary term now. It's the cool vernacular.
We call them. To me, the big difference between like a startup and a small business is a startup. For the most part, you need someone else's money to get off the ground. Like to me, that's the real Otherwise, it's just a small business. You're filling a need and providing a service, and that's just a small business.
So what advice could you give to people that are looking to do or start, whether it's a small business or they're getting seed funding from somebody else? Talk
to people. That's the first thing.
So network?
A network, but even simpler than that. If you've got an idea, call someone, tell them about it, because if you start to talk about something, it starts to become real. And the more people you talk about it, the more committed you become.
Do you have fear of that idea being stolen?
No. I think that is absolutely one of the and most people that I've talked to about stuff, that is always a lot of the people that are in their first startup, that is their fear, is that this idea is what's valuable. The idea is not valuable. Because chances are your idea is something that already exists out there that someone else is doing a different way. What's valuable is what you bring to the table, your ability to execute on that, your secret sauce on how to do it. No, I think that talking to people in general is a good idea. I think that's the first thing. I think here most of the time it's how do I get off the ground and start to look at what you're trying to do, and what do I need to accomplish it? Do I need office space? Do I need to get into if you need office space, then all right, well, how can I get office space? And here it's pretty easy to get. If you want to get free office space in Phoenix, it's doable. You can squat somewhere. You can go to co-working. You can just go to a co-working space and make friends with the people that run it, and tell them what you're doing, and chances are they'll probably give you a seat for free for a couple months. So I just recommend getting out and talking about it, not being afraid of someone stealing it, and just showing up every day and doing it. Are
there resources that people can go online to find? Where to find people to talk to about it?
Yeah. So I would recommend the Yes Phoenix group, just because that is a Facebook group where people do post whatever events are happening, as well as, and in Yes Phoenix, you'll hear about some things around town that are either different meetup groups, or they are regular just gathering places where people that are interested in startups go to. I can get into a couple of them later. There's one called 1 Million Cups that this guy I know, Cody, runs. And this is a national organization where once a week they meet at different, I think he rotates different, like Cahoots does it, Galvanize does it. And he will invite someone that's working on a project or a startup to pitch, and then anyone can come and listen and ask questions. And it's just
that's great.
Yeah, it's very informal. It's just they provide coffee, and every week there's a new speaker, and people can just listen and ask questions, and then do Q&A afterwards.
So if somebody has an idea and they're thinking of starting a business or doing a startup, would you say that going and having these conversations with people will educate you on whether or not you've got a good idea or a terrible idea?
I think the more people you talk to, the more information you're going to receive, and no one is going to be able to, someone can typically. I've told people that this is a bad idea. This is, you can do it, but it's not like $1 million idea.
Sure.
So I think the more people you talk to and the more educated you get about what it takes to execute an idea can kind of help filter that out. But for the most part, people just they need very minimal kind of assistance early on.
Mm-hmm.
There's other stuff like startup weekends that happen in Phoenix all the time, where you can watch a bunch of people flush out their ideas. That's always helpful. If you're not sure where your idea is on the spectrum, go watch someone else try to figure out their idea, or talk to someone about their idea, and figure out how your idea can follow that same metric or rubric.
It seems like you very much need to be a little bit extroverted if you're going to be running a startup.
If you're going to run, I think it's small business in general, you got to be. Yeah. I mean, very few people that aren't comfortable getting out there and hustling. If you're not good at hustling, don't try to go hustle.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to work for you.
I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk talks a lot about not everybody's an A player.
Yeah.
The world needs B's, C, and C's.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I would say at different parts of my career, I was not capable of being that megaphone and hustling and whatnot. And so it is something that someone can change. So it's not like you can't do it.
It just takes practice and reps, like anything else.
Yeah, and passion.
Yeah.
If you got passion, you can usually overcome your introversion.
Mm-hmm.
If you're passionate about whatever it is you're doing, you'll see people that are totally introverts get up on the stage and talk about it and
crush it.
Yeah, because they're passionate about it. So a lot of times passion can overcome that.
Now, what advice would you have for someone that maybe isn't going to do a startup, but is potentially thinking of going to work for a startup? What are some of the pitfalls of working for a startup versus a well-established company?
So I don't think that one's better than the other. Just like I've spent 10 years at one and like almost 8 or something at another at startups, and I can say confidently that I learned a ton at Bank of America and in the corporate world that I would not have gotten at startups.
Sure.
It's helpful to know what a profession, like people that have already decided the best way to do something and learned the best way to do something, rather than trying to invent the best way to do something. If you're some advice for working at startups is, especially this holds true in Phoenix, is it's not a regular job. Like, you are going to be working a lot of hours, and doing things that your friends aren't gonna like. They're gonna have more 9-to-5s. You're not gonna have a 9-to-5, and you better be interested in whatever it is that you're doing there. Otherwise, you're not gonna like it.
I would say there's probably more risk with working for a startup.
Yeah,
the likelihood of going out of business is absolutely there, but the reward at the end, if the startup takes off, is a lot higher than
you can get especially if you're in a startup that's already raised money, then you can get employee options and get a promotion, which will lead to more employee options, and kind of see how an exit in a company when a company exits and gets bought out or goes public, that's not on accident. It's been a well-formulated plan for years.
Sure.
And so you get to be on the inner workings of that and kind of marching to that drum. And that is extremely beneficial. Also, working for a startup, you will come out of it knowing how to do probably 7 different jobs. You'll know how to, do whatever it is your core job was. Plus, you'll know how to fix the printer. Plus, you'll know how to do marketing and train a new employee and hire new employees and fire employees and all of that stuff.
Yeah, because the companies are a lot smaller, so you're having to wear multiple hats, and so you get a lot more on-the-job training.
Yeah, and if you're good, they're gonna lean on you.
Yeah.
If you in a startup, if you're good, you're gonna be just fine. You're gonna fit in. You're gonna thrive. People are gonna continue to give you new hats to do or new roles to play and promotions and all that sort of stuff. That wouldn't happen at a big company for you necessarily. But if you're bad, you're probably not going to last long because
right.
It's just a demanding atmosphere, and there is a lot of high turnover at startups.
Yeah, and I would say there's also a high likelihood of the startup not succeeding because most startups, most new businesses, whether it's a startup or just a regular small business, they fail.
Yeah, some of these are terrible ideas.
Yeah. So I think you have to really buy into what the leader, the founder is selling.
Yeah, and it's not just the founder; it's the culture, and also kind of taking ownership of the culture yourself. So even if it's, it really helps if you've got a very passionate and visionary CEO, but like a lot of times that CEO gets fired. And the culture is what you make of it. And it's what's, everyone plays a hand in that. And so it's not just from the top down, at least in smaller startups, a sub, 100 people startups. So, you are part of the startup kind of, and if you can you want to apply whatever you bring to the table to that culture.
Absolutely. I think that is very wise words that you said, that you need to kind of take control of that culture and make it into what you want.
I'm thinking through. So I've got you've met my brother, obviously. He's been at Zenefits for 5 years and made it through. They went through I think 4 or 5 serious. They went from 200 people to 1,200 people, back down to 400 people, something like that.
Well, and that's one of those startups where the CEO
got fired.
Some shady stuff, got kicked out.
And so at the end of the day, he may have seen 1,000 people come through the door, but he's stayed there, so he's played a significant role in the culture there, just from being there and being a leader there for that amount of years. And you wouldn't think that was going to be the case when he started and they were trying to hire 200 people immediately.
Right.
So
yeah, I think that the ability to rise the ranks and learn, it's almost like getting a college degree without having to go to college, because you do get the opportunity to serve in those different roles and in a capacity that if you were in a corporate job in a big conglomerate that you're probably not going to get to do, that you're kind of stuck in that. Yep. Whatever role that you're
a teller.
in. Yep. You're a teller. You're a bank manager, and that's what you do from 9 to 5 all day, every day. And that's the grind where the attractiveness is, maybe you're going to be working harder. You're going to be putting in longer hours at a startup, but you're going to learn a hell of a lot more, and your days are going to be a lot more interesting.
Yeah, and I think that if anyone's going to work for a startup, I think the real reason to go work for a startup is because you want to have your own startup, or you want to be part of a founding team eventually, because that's really where you're marching towards. Is you're marching towards being a really cross-functional employee that could do this all on his own one day. And so you spend enough time at startups, you meet enough people, you exchange ideas, and then eventually you do one on your own, and that's where you have the real payoff, hopefully.
So if anybody wants to reach out to you for advice on startups, advice on digital marketing, or if they just want to buy throw their dog on a t-shirt, how do they get a hold of you?
Puppiesmakemehappy.com. You can use coupon code I met Shawn for 25% off.
Nice. How do people find puppies online?
Instagram, Puppies Make Me Happy.
Okay.
Yep. It's pretty easy.
Pretty straightforward.
If you want to find me, you can go to my freelance site, shawn.digital, and find out my contact information.
And we'll make sure to put all this in the show
Cool.
notes as well. So, well, thank you very much, Shawn. I appreciate you coming
congrats
out and chatting
on
me.
the PR.
There's gonna be way more to come, I promise.
Yeah. What's the next PR? What's your goals?
Oh gosh, I'm beat up, man. I'm starting to see if I'm getting old. I'm seeing a physical therapist. Like my knee and my shoulder. I turned 37, and then all of a sudden the wheels fell off. I don't know what it is. Yeah. So my goal is to not continue to fall apart.
Why don't you stop flipping tires every day? Like, you don't need the tires. The tires aren't asking to be flipped. It's not like you need to bring them somewhere. You're doing this on your own.
I'll have you know that I have not flipped a tire in a long time. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
What's the most like weird object that you take from one place to another every day then? A rock?
Yeah. They do sandbags. So there's sandbag carries. I've carried,
Do you feel I mean, you're a smart guy, but they just tell you to, hey, take this sandbag from point A to point B. There's no point there.
There's no point. Well, the point is fitness. And I want to live a long time, and I want to be able to do what I want when I want. And if that means somebody calls me and says, hey, you want to run, a Tough Mudder this week? And I'll be like, sure. And not have to train.
I carried sandbags all weekend. Yeah. I'm down.
So I don't know. My goal is to age gracefully, and that's not working out right now with my knee and shoulder. So
you're doing it right.
Yeah. So anyway, well, appreciate you coming over and being on the show and telling us a little bit about Puppies Make Me Happy and the startup culture here in Phoenix. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been another episode of Danny Brown Talks Phoenix, and we will see you next time. Just wanted to say a quick thank you to all of you who tuned in for this